Friends, we gather today to mourn the sad passing of irony, which finally died this week. You know, it was irony that first showed us how white supremacists continue to be the best argument against the concept of white supremacy. It was irony that revealed that people must get stoned to realize that when Dylan sang "Everybody Must Get Stoned," he wasn't singing about actually getting stoned. But alas, this week, the pressure of being the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for humorous or emphatic effect, became too much for irony when Fox News interviewed convicted government cover-up master, former Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, about an alleged cover-up in Benghazi. The levels of irony, mixed with a lethal cocktail of hypocrisy and ignorance and a hubris chaser, proved too much and led to irony hanging himself. Now, we'll all remember how tough irony was and how misunderstood. Remember the days people confused irony with sarcasm? Alanis Morissette had a top 10 single where she confused irony with coincidence. That in itself was so ironic, it sent irony into a deep depression back in the 90s, which took months to get over. But irony, my friends, was finally done in by this.
The abysmal lack of human intelligence, the evidence of massive bureaucratic ineptness, incompetence, misfeasance, the falsified talking points provided to people who are going to speak publicly about it.
Following that interview, law enforcement revealed that throughout America, kettles have reported mass incidents of being called black by pots. And tragically, upon hearing the word misfeasance, 2,000 dictionaries also committed mass suicide. Even worse is the fact that the irony of this interview was lost on the Fox viewing audience, who know Oliver North not as the former National Security Council staff member who shredded thousands of documents that would have exposed his participation in a wide range of crimes related to the illegal sale of weapons to Iran, arming both sides of the Iran-Iraq war, violating the Boland Act by illegally funding the Contras of Central America, instructing his own Secretary Fawn Hall to destroy evidence, to obstruct any government investigation, and lying about all of this to Congress. But rather, they know him as the guy who makes Sean Hannity so excited and giggly, you can see Sean's nipples protruding through his polyester suit. Irony couldn't handle the irony of it all, and was so overcome with irony, it took its own life to avoid more irony. During the Iran-Contra hearings, my friends, Colonel North said the entire Reagan administration knew about the plan, which he described as neat. He was subsequently convicted of obstruction of justice, shredding documents, illegally receiving a security fence for his own home. North also called the Contras freedom fighters, the same phrase the Reagan administration used for the Taliban back in the 80s, which ironically led to irony's first suicide attempt. But poor irony couldn't handle the fact that Reagan and Bush ran in 1980 pledging to never negotiate with terrorists, then had Colonel North illegally sell weapons to the same Iranians who helped kill our Marines in Beirut, lied about the amount of weapons, lied about the amount of shipments, used the money to fund the civilian-killing Contras in Central America after stuffy old Congress passed the Boland Act law saying they couldn't. Reagan testified he couldn't recall authorizing the sale of weapons to an enemy nation. Oliver North lied to Congress, got off on a technicality, and on Christmas Day '92, lame duck President George W. Bush pardoned everyone convicted of Iran-Contra crimes, and they all walked away clean, and Bill Clinton got impeached for whipping it out in front of the help. Of course, any Republican will tell you Bill Clinton wasn't impeached for sex. It was for lying under oath. The irony being, if Republicans cared about lying under oath, Oliver North wouldn't be working for Fox. He'd be biting the pillow at a federal pen as we speak. Irony is survived by its cousin wit and its very distant relatives sarcasm and snark. Fox News plans to follow up the Oliver North cover-up interview with segments featuring tax tips from Wesley Snipes, Ryan O'Neal parenting suggestions, and relationship advice from Jodi Arias. That's Viewpoint for tonight.